Good afternoon.
Say your head's in the ear.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Hi, Joe.
How's everybody doing?
We are good. We need a few minutes here to get all set. So
Anna is right.
she's right there.
I'm thinking she needs to be
There.
there.
The solar developers, Solar Energy Partners, right? LLC.
Yeah.
She's sitting right there.
Hey, Troy.
Hi, Ann. How are you?
A pretty jacket. What are you wearing today, all dressed up?
It's for you.
That's what I thought, for sure. I was going through my closet the other day and found a purple T-shirt that I had been given for one of my birthdays from you. Still looks great, you know.
I can see you look good in purple.
Yeah, T-shirt, purple T-shirt for sure. It works. It's fine.
And,
Is that a white jacket you're wearing or just a vanilla?
yeah, vanilla.
Very nice. You
It's,
never,
it's my way of doing the summer dance. I want it to warm up around here.
yeah, I know. Are we going to be live and in person in July, gang?
That remains to be seen, and the executive order from the governor still stands with regard to public meetings. As I mentioned last week on our prep call, we're exploring some options for in-person that'll be convenient for everyone.
Okay.
So I guess stay tuned.
All right.
It'll certainly be an adjustment, right?
Real people in the same room. That would be a unique opportunity. And we're trying to get everyone's schedules together and aligned for a board retreat meeting in July or August. So it's 12:01.
And can you hear me? This is Tony.
Hey, Tony, I can. Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Hi,
And
Tony.
Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe. Lisa.
Hi, Ann. How are you?
Good.
How are you?
How are you?
Good.
And who else do we have on the phone? A couple more people.
He's coming on. We're just missing Rhett at this point.
There's Jay.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Jay.
There's still a couple more people that have called in.
Yes, Brian the Fountain has called in, and he's one of the phone numbers, and Greg Genovese is one of the phone numbers.
Who is?
Greg Genovese, our CFO.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Is that Rhett right there?
Is Kevin on?
Kevin is on, yeah.
Kevin.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Oh, there's Kevin. Okay. All right. Are we ready to start streaming?
We are streaming. We're good to go if you want to start. Yep.
Okay, good. Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. We're happy to kick off our June 15th meeting, and might as well get right into it since everyone is with us at this point. So I'll call the meeting to order, and I'll ask for approval of the minutes from our meeting of May 18th. Is there a motion?
I'll motion in.
Thank you, Joe.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Tony. All those in any corrections to the minutes? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Kevin Loki, can you give us a local labor monitoring report for the month of May?
Okay, so I have the May 2021 monthly COMIDA report. Covers our visits obviously between May 1st and May 31st of 2021. During this period, we made 74 monthly site visits. We made 8 follow-up visits during this period. We checked with residency with 674 workers. We had 17 issues of non-compliance. 12 of those were no proof of residence, spread over 7 jobs. 5 were out of area over 2 jobs. As of May 31st, 2021, all monitored sites are in compliance at the time of our inspection. We had 3 new COMIDA signs delivered. Riverwood Tech Campus LLC, their AMS sensors, Forge Metal Finishing Inc., and Kodak Light Blocking New Materials.
Thanks, Kevin. Any questions from the board on the report?
Kevin, I have a question.
Yes, sure.
So in 1 month, we're at 674. We anticipate in July, there's going to be an uptick over there on our job on Manitou.
Yep, as well as the one down the street too.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, how, in your policy and your guidelines, how frequently do you have to go and visit the sites? How frequently do you go to the sites?
Sure. So based on the guidelines, we have to visit every site once a month. But because the policy is as strict as it is with 100% local labor, we find that it's beneficial to visit every project every 2 weeks. So this way, no one falls in between the cracks. As you know, Troy, there could be a subcontractor on a project that's only there for a couple of days. So we find it imperative to visit every site twice a month and thus bi-weekly. Now, a project such as the Amazon project, which is going to have probably among the most labor we've had on a project in a while, that one we would revisit in more frequency. But I mean, the site is right around the corner from our office. I believe we're going to have an easier way to audit the labor because as of this week, that project should have an RFID system ideally in place that will make auditing the labor on site a little bit easier. So I'm actually visiting the site this week. I'll be there on Thursday or Friday. So hopefully have more information on whether or not that is in the works and actually operating or not.
We are meeting Friday. I'll give you a call offline to see if you have time to fit it in the schedule to meet with
Yeah.
them.
No, I can definitely coordinate that with your visit as well. And that way we can get a bunch of heads together and discuss, you know, what's going to be coming to the site. Because yes, obviously once July hits, there's going to be more trades, more workers on site, and the project down the street, the Ogden job, is actually kind of going to be ramping up probably in July as well. Right now, they're just doing site work and foundations, but that project should be taking off soon as well.
Keep up the good work, Kevin.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you. Any other questions for Kevin? All
Thanks,
right.
Kevin.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Thanks very much. Okay, Brian LaFountain, is he on the line to review our local labor exemption report for May and June?
Robin, Brian said he got disconnected. Do you see him in his number in the waiting room?
Hold on, give me 1 second.
There's 2585 numbers in the waiting room. Robin's just checking to see which one is him. Sorry for the delay, everyone.
What's your last cell number? Last 4 of your cell number.
That one.
7153.
7153 number.
He's coming.
Brian, can you hear us?
Okay, I'm in. Sorry.
Okay. No, we're sorry. Sorry.
No, it was my fault. I
fault.
accidentally disconnected. Okay, so are we ready for the labor exemption report?
We are, Ryan.
Okay, well, I have a couple things to report on today. The first one that I wanted to report back to the board was relative to a follow-up on the blanket waiver vote that we had last month. And I just wanted to give the board members an update on kind of our process on working on monitoring the blanket waiver, right? So just wanted to let you know we've established and set up a weekly meeting with James Murray Coleman, Scott Frank, Robin, Anna, Rachel, and myself, just to kind of touch base on any new developments as it relates to, the blanket waiver. One of the things that we talked about on our last meeting was working with Kevin Loki on the badging system that they're trying to get set up, and how we're going to monitor making sure everybody actually swipes in on the site on a daily basis so that we can get accurate monitoring reports. And then the second thing that we did is we set up a bi-weekly meeting on site with James Murray Coleman, Scott Frank, Troy Milne, and Grant Malone. And at these bi-weekly meetings, unfortunately, I had to miss the first one, but I think it's essentially going to be for us to talk about the projection over the next 2-week period about who's going to be on site, what kind of labor needs there are. So if we reach a situation where, they need local laborers, and Troy and Grant are going to be there to help process that and to help, find local folks. So I just wanted to give you an update to the board members on kind of how we're working through that blanket waiver process. So does anybody have any questions on that before I move on to the actual exemption report?
Any questions? Okay, proceed.
Okay. All right. I have actually 2 waivers to report on this month, and both of them are for the Indus South Union Street project, which is actually the Hampton Inn. So the first one to report on is
So Brian,
we had
you're going to do the May report first?
say that again.
Are you going to do the May report first?
Yes. That's the 2 Indus South Union Streets, right?
You have that on your June report.
Just one
Oh,
item. Lauren speaking, if you could mute your line, we're getting some feedback. And secondly, Robin did send out the May report. Don't refer to the report that was in the larger board packet. There was a separate monitoring or verified exemption report that Robin sent out on Thursday.
That's just June, isn't it?
Yes. It's what you're being presented, but it's for the month of May.
2 projects, 2 Indus projects. The one that was in the book
right.
from the prior month that he had already done the prior month.
Oh, thank you, Robin.
Was that in the packet?
Oh.
Put the wrong one in there.
So
Yeah.
that was,
So it's just the one report for June.
so the May was in there by accident.
Correct.
Okay. All right, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you for that explanation, because I was thoroughly confused as well. All right. So I do have 2, both of them are the Indus South Union Street LLC, which is the Hampton Inn project. The first one was related to the roofing bid there, and that was an exemption that was submitted based on the cost differential criteria. And so we had a local contractor, Elmer Davis, who submitted a proposal, and we had J&B Installations, which is out of the area in Skinny Atlas. So in this situation, for the cost differentials, I spoke to both contractors. The local one, Elmer Davis, was offered the project at an average of the 2 costs, the J&B Installations and the Elmer Davis quotes were averaged and offered to Elmer Davis. Elmer Davis deliberated for a while and then decided that they were going to decline that project for that average price. So in that situation, the project was offered to J&B Installations out of Skinny Atlas. The second one was related to, it was an exemption related to the precast hollow core planks at the project. And in this situation, this was a situation where the exemption was based on a specialized construction. We do have local contractors within the area who install these hollow core planks, but the project but the specifics that were bid out was for the manufacture and the installation of these hollow core planks. So in doing the processing for this, I reached out to multiple local contractors to confirm that they in fact did not manufacture these planks, they only installed them. So therefore, we didn't have anybody locally who could do this work. So it was awarded to Mac Industries out of Cleveland, Ohio. And that's all I have to report. So are there any questions on those two?
Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on. Thanks, Brian. And if everyone can mute their phones, because we are still getting some feedback, I believe. Or
thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Conversations in the background that are going on. Okay, Greg, our financial report.
Great. Yeah, thanks. And good afternoon, everyone. So 5 months into our fiscal year, you can see we continue to, strengthen our balance sheet. Cash is a little over 8.3 million, up considerably from last year and from last May, which was about 7.3 million. May alone generated $360,000 in fee revenue. Last year, the month of May generated a little over $100,000 in fee revenue. So just a little context there. You can see as we have gotten through the pandemic and really have exceeded all expectations and budgets. Year-to-date revenue is already over our annual budget of $2 million, a little over $2.2 million at this point. And again, with that, we're currently managing those expenses as well, staying to our budget. Things may come up, in the future. Right now, we're a little bit under budget on certain things, but I expect that to really be timing. But overall, like I said, from a financial perspective, still in a really strong financial position through the first 5 months of the year.
Yes, it does look a good deal better than last year. So,
yeah.
Any questions for Greg on that? Okay, thanks a lot, Greg.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move right into our project applications. And the first application is for Dell 3750 Monroe Avenue, LLC. Anna?
Thank you, Ann. Dell 3750 Monroe Avenue Associates, LLC, a real estate holding company, is proposing to renovate an existing portion of a building in the town of Pittsford for a new tenant, Integron LLC, or Core Wireless. Core Wireless is planning to move from their current facility in the town of Gates to this new, larger location to accommodate growth. The project will expand their light assembly and customized mobile Internet of Things, or IoT, production within Monroe County. Core Wireless provides diverse global coverage plans that are managed under a single platform, hardware options that work well together, along with the expertise to find the best solutions. The company's solutions serve the rising demand of healthcare, energy, and transportation industries. Remote patient monitoring, electronic visit verification, real-time supply chain monitoring, and fleet tracking systems are some examples of Core Wireless IoT mobile device management solutions. The tenant plans to create 30 new FTEs. The applicant is seeking a sales tax exemption on construction materials, and the tenant is seeking a sales tax exemption on furniture and fixtures. The applicant has stated that the project may not move forward unless the project also receives benefits from New York State. The $1.2 million project has a cost-to-benefit ratio of 118:1.
Okay, thank you. I believe we have Louis Norrie and Daniel Palka on the screen and on the phone with us. Would you like to elaborate on, tell us more about your project?
Well,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Louis.
I can tell you about what we're doing to the building. Integron is coming in and basically, I think, doubling their space.
Mhm.
And we're taking that space. It's 2/3 for their office and value-added processing, manufacturing, whatever you want to call it, where they take things, reprogram them, put them together, and add the value that they add. And then another 20,000 feet where we're upgrading the warehouse because their stuff requires climate control and specialty sprinklers. And this space has been sitting empty for a couple of years. And from what I can tell, going over to see their space and the number of storage containers in the yard, they're bursting out at the seams and growth is happening. And we're expecting good things, and hopefully that we'll be back for more soon, to tell you the truth.
So Ann, this is Dan Polka with Core Wireless Integron. I'm the Vice President of Finance in the Rochester region here, and Louis described it very well. And then the summary of the project description was also perfect right on too. We're just growing. We're going through a gigantic growth spurt. Core Wireless bought Integron back in November 2019. The owners sold, and they have since retired. But there has been a strong contingent to leave this business in this area for the skill set that of services that we provide. And to Lewis's point, we're just flat out, we've outgrown it. So the 5G technology that Core Wireless is doing, and with 2G, 3G shutdown around the world, as we all know, all these SIMs need to be redeployed. And then these deployment services is one of the skill sets that Integron provides to the region and to these customers worldwide. So we just need more space to continue and handle this growth. The 5G technology it's a very, very aggressive uptrend over the next 2, 3, 4 years. So to be successful, we're going to need this extra space.
So it looks like you're doubling your square footage from the Gates facility to Pittsford from
Exactly.
what, 30,000 to 60,000. And not only do you have more space available to actually increase all the warehouse functionality, it has a presentability effect to it as well. You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
I'm sorry, a presentability?
Yes.
Well, I think if you were to go by and look at both buildings, we've done quite a bit to make 3750 an upscale corporate location with other health service and clinical trial people and value-added manufacturers. And the building that they're in is in an older, smaller industrial park. So I think that they'll have a nice visibility, and by separating the different areas of their function, one of the things that we worked on in the design was having the ability to bring customers in and show them what the company actually does without it looking crowded or that their stuff is going to get mixed with other people's stuff.
Right. Right. So to build on that comment, so I'm a financial guy, so I'm not a big on the wow factor, but I know our sales and marketing folks love the wow factor, and one of the things is the clean look, the professional look, the worry or the non-worry that their the customers don't have any concerns about their product, where it's going, or it just needs to be a professional. Now, Integron, Burmar Park was that, but it's just with all the congestion and all the growth. I mean, stacking boxes in corners, et cetera, it just doesn't show to that. So this is very important for our sales executives, our marketing executives to be able to bring in, medical clients, and showcase it as a legitimate, clean organization that has a strong backing and foundation.
This is a great example of our community's business strategy. This is local developed technology and business done good, getting acquired by a much bigger company, going public and about to explode. And the great news for us is there's enough value added in the employees that they're staying here.
Right.
That is good news. It is good news. Do we have questions from the board on this project?
Mr. Polk, over what time frame do you anticipate these 30 hires occurring?
Year and a half. I mean, we're I'll be honest, our number one customer, our number one anchor account just landed a gigantic, I'll call it an unforecasted order for the 2G, 3G shutdown. Well, it wasn't unforecasted. It accelerated into 2021 when it was originally projected for late 2022. And we need a second shift, right? So we need more staff. We're looking for 15, 16 people, and we're working with temp agencies in the area, and we're trying to get it staffed as soon as possible, and then convert these people to FTEs. So I would say year and a half would be a reasonable time to source and get these guys up and going.
Okay, great. Other questions? All right.
And I'm sorry, I was muted. I
Oh.
guess this is more a question to Anna and Rachel. So is there a minimum requirement of employees attached to this, or that's not, because it's only sales tax, that's not a necessary requirement?
There's no minimum associated with this project. Troy.
I think their biggest problem right now is finding people, just like everybody else. I did want to assure you all that we're using all local people. This is Maison Building Services Group, Leo J. Roth, ES Systems, Maison's doing the electrical and the painting. Everything is local, and decent portion of it is union.
Okay, great. So it sounds like you are aware of our local labor policy.
I am.
And do you anticipate any local labor exemptions at this time?
Not that I can think of, unless somebody's coming in to install something.
Are you aware that if you do have any exemptions, that they need to be requested 45 days in advance?
Yes, and more than me knowing, Steve Morrow at Building Services Group knows. And everybody's going to get a copy of the notice. And the only thing I can think of is if they bring in someone from the factory, we're putting in a new fancy kind of sprinklers. So, but if we do, we'll, and I assume so let me just ask you that question. If they're not on our payroll, do we need to get an exemption if the factory is sending them?
Rachel, you want to?
Payroll factory. So like you bought a piece of equipment that's being installed and the vendor sending someone to install it?
I'm not sure if they will or not, but the sprinkler system that we're putting in is a brand new technology. So I just don't know whether or not they send someone along who knows what they're doing.
Okay, we just need to be aware of any labor that's not local. And
Okay, well, you know what, better to ask, right?
We need to be given 45-day notice so that we can give our own local labor an opportunity to apply for that work. And sometimes it doesn't work out for various reasons, but at least we need to have that notice.
Yeah, I don't see any issues. The county area is large enough.
Okay. Rachel, were you gonna, or Robin, were you gonna say?
Just that staff will be in touch with the applicants after the meeting to go over any exemption process they may need to avail themselves of.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Any other questions from the board? All right, the seeker process is complete, and Anna will now move forward with the reading of the resolution.
1 second.
Yes, thank you, Anne.
Move to waive the reading of the resolution and all other resolutions for the meeting.
Yeah, I'll second that, Ann.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Joe. Any additional comments on that? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. I'll now move or ask for a motion for inducement and final resolution approving a sales tax exemption. Is there a motion?
Royal motion.
Thank you, Troy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Lisa. Any additional corrections to that motion? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Jay?
Yes.
Tony? Tony's on mute. Tony? I'll come back. Rhett? Rhett is on mute. I can't hear. He's nodding yes. So I think I'll record that. Yes. Troy?
Yay.
Okay. Joe
Yes.
is a yes, and Lisa
Yes.
is a yes, and Tony, did we get you back online? All right. We're voting on the Dell 3750 Monroe Avenue project. Tony? Okay, Anne is a yes, so motion carries. Thank you very much. Congratulations to you. Good luck to you. It sounds like a wonderful success story.
And
That you
This
have.
this should be a good one.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you very much for growing in Monroe County.
Yes, thank you, Ann. Thank you, board. I appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers.
All right, have a lovely day. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is 145 LLC, Jordan Morgenstern. Anna, do you want to walk us through that? Did you
This should be, this
have?
should,
Thank you. Sorry for my sneeze there. 145 LLC, a real estate holding company, is proposing to demolish an existing 14,000 square foot building to construct a new 80,000 square foot apartment building in the neighborhood of the arts in the city of Rochester. The building will be market rate apartments consisting of 8 two-bedroom units, 6 one-bedroom units, and 24 one-bedroom den units. The project plans to create 1 new FTE. The $15 million project is seeking a real property tax, mortgage recording tax, and sales tax exemption. The cost to benefit ratio is 4:1.
Okay, thank you. I believe we have Jordan Morgenstern on the line with us. Good morning.
That's correct.
Afternoon.
Thank you.
Would you like to tell us more about your project?
Yeah, we are excited, or hopefully excited, to build a mirror building to the Cardi next door. It was a vision of Gary Stern, who's passed away, that one day we acquire the property and redevelop it as an apartment project. We're at the point where we like to move forward. We lost a long-term tenant, Rochester Works, about 1.5 years ago, marketed the property for a lease with little success, and have now a 1950s, 40s building that's kind of obsolete with a large parking lot in front that we are now hoping to improve with a modern state-of-the-art apartment building that will be identical or virtually identical to the Carnegie building next door that I believe you guys are familiar with.
Do you want to talk more about the type of the units that you're building?
They're going to be a mix of 1 bedroom and 1 bedroom plus den with a handful of 2 bedrooms. The Carnegie next door has about 48 units. We're looking at between 46 and 49 units. The units leased up very quickly. They're mainly doctors, some retirees, people looking to be active and be part of the city of Rochester and, bring life to the city. The project itself, I know that it will only create 1 FTE, basically a property manager, but there should be 250 to 300 construction jobs that will be there over the course of the 18-month construction period. Again, we understand we'll be using all local labor, and we look forward to making this investment in the city.
The your package included a good market study of the buildings around this event, around your site, and of the the demand and the occupancy rate is all quite encouraging. Tell us more about the fact that they are going to be market rate of apartments, and that they won't include a set aside for low cost housing, senior housing, as many of our projects do include.
I think that economically, because we're self-financing the project and that we are not using any type of state grant or city loan or any type of governmental assistance, that it just really makes it economically unfeasible the projections that we need to build a $15 million facility to make it worth, our, I guess worth our energy is not the right word, but to make it economically feasible, there cannot be a market rate component without getting some sort of actual incentive from the state or the city.
But you are seeking a mortgage recording tax and sales tax exemption, as well as real property tax abatement from
Right. So
from the county.
Correct. So as it stands now, over a 10-year period, the building, as it stands, would generate about $300,000 in real estate tax revenue to the city and county. Even with the exemption, we're looking at over $1.5 million or $1.5 million in real estate tax revenue. So there's an enormous difference, 5 times the tax revenue from the apartment building versus what the building is assessed at today. So, there's a huge benefit to the city and the county in actual real estate taxes paid.
Thank you. Are there other questions by the board? Any other questions?
Jordan, I know, I guess just to build a little bit on Ann's question, you guys, did you guys look at, we weren't, even a 5 or 10% affordable component? Because as Ann points out, you are asking for a property tax and mortgage tax. You are asking for county benefits. And I guess speaking for myself, we kind of look and say, we have one job, is there a additional public benefit that we can point to, that we can point to and say, this would be a good project for the, for the incentives that we are giving you, and quite frankly, some of the other competition around are not getting. So, if you're gonna be out there looking at market conditions, subject yourself to all market conditions and make it a level playing field.
Well, I think that goes back to, I guess, a couple different points. And one, that we're not getting any other assistance. I'm certain that any other project that's been approved that has that is not market rate, that has lower cost housing, has other government assistance, other forms of assistance beyond mortgage tax and sales tax in a pilot. So I think that's part one, but we're going to upgrade the neighborhood. We're upgrading the city. We're taking an old complete building and putting a beautiful modern building in there that will bring strong tenants to the area, tenants that will use local businesses and will use restaurants and will walk and make the city more viable. So I think that we're and on top of that, we're going to be bringing in the apartment building will bring over $1.5 million in real estate tax revenue to the city and county. And that's over a 10-year period. Once the pilot's gone, we'll be paying full market rate taxes after 10 years. And, that's $3-4 million in additional tax over that period.
Okay, other questions by the board?
Yeah, Rachel, is this a distressed area?
Tony, he asked if it's a distressed area.
Yes, it is.
So, with it being a distressed area, how have we voted in the past on apartments in a distressed area without any low-income housing involved with it?
Who would like to answer that? Anna, Rachel?
Project that have no affordable component housing.
This is how we voted on previous projects. Without an affordable set aside, we have had some no votes in the past.
Did that answer your question, Tony?
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. How about other board members who'd like to speak or ask a question? Joe?
Yeah, and I'm here. No, I don't. I don't have any questions. I just think that I wouldn't look favorably on this. Is that there's. I think the project will be profitable, standing on its own 2 feet. I think with no low income piece of it, creating one FTE, I just yeah, I don't see the benefit, because I think that area is a viable area for apartments as it is. So I think whatever you develop there, you've got a real good shot of being successful with. So, that's my position on it.
And I have another question for Rachel.
Yes, Tony.
Rachel, on the first project that Stern family put up, how did we vote?
Well, we do have some new board members. The existing board members, we had one no vote. The other board members that are still on the board did vote in favor of the project.
Okay.
So Rachel, can I ask one more question? Am I allowed to ask a question?
I mean, go ahead.
I know that Tony asked how you voted in the past, and you said there have been no votes. Have there been yes votes as well to projects beyond the Stern project that had no low income component?
Other than the Stern project, one is not coming to mind. Typically, our housing projects, as Ann said at the beginning of the presentation of this, have either an affordable set aside, a senior component, or are located in a highly distressed area, which this project we have established is located in a highly distressed area, but has neither an affordable set aside nor a senior component.
Yeah, thank you.
Other questions from the board? People who have not spoken. Brett? We can't hear you. We still can't hear you.
I'll go ahead, Ann. So Jordan, when we'd had this discussion on Thursday, I saw that the environmental study, the application had some mixed use. It had different numbers. And I know after being explained that, when we go for an environmental, we go from here, and this said it's a little higher than what we're looking at. I did have some concerns and I questioned that, but why wouldn't we entertain something with a mixed use, or putting a 5, like Jay said, a 5 or 10% component, just for, I don't know, handicap accessible, senior living, low income housing. I guess those are the 3 that we've always kind of focused on in the past. Is
So one, it is going to be it's not going to be just multifamily. There will be a retail, component to it. And I guess it's my own ignorance. I'm not sure when you say senior component, what that particularly requires in a senior component. But there's definitely seniors that live in the building next door, and we would definitely have seniors living in this building. Like there's no doubt.
Thank you.
Now, what's it, Rachel, the definition of senior?
It varies per project. Usually it's a 55 to 65 and older, but it's designated units for that, or the entire project is designated senior housing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying, so the whole building would have to be 55 and over?
Our projects that are neither in a distressed census tract or have an affordable set aside that this board has incentivized have been senior housing, where the entire facility is senior housing.
Okay, because we are distressed, and we could do a partial set aside for senior housing. We'd commit to a certain number of units that would definitely be leased only to seniors.
Does it need to be 100%, Rachel, or can it be a smaller percentage for senior, designated as senior?
I can't recall a project where we've done that. But if the board is, as Jay mentioned, is looking for an additional public benefit, providing either housing to affordable or to senior, then if that's a factor that the board is looking for, then certainly it could be a component of the project.
Is that something that you would consider? Jordan?
We couldn't do 100%, but I feel comfortable now speaking on behalf of my partners that we could set aside 20% of the building for seniors.
Okay. Do you want to go back and modify the project and bring it back to us, or?
I mean, could we just include that as part of the resolution, that it would require a 20% set aside for senior housing?
I think that vote and approval would be contingent upon.
We can include that in the motion.
Okay.
That would be my preference. If any delays just seem to push things out, and we have a limited building year here with the winter. So I will be comfortable committing to 20% senior housing.
Okay. Rhett, did you have something you wanted to say? You're still on mute.
Rhett, do you have audio?
I don't think you.
But you can type in the chat also if you had a comment.
Okay, Lisa, any feedback?
No.
No, I think we've heard from everyone now. All right, so we'll modify the motion then. Well, let me go in sequence here. There was a public hearing held on June 10th. Were there any comments from that hearing, Rachel?
No, there were not.
Okay. And Jordan, are you aware of our local labor policy?
I am aware.
And do you anticipate any local labor exemptions at this time?
I have no reason to believe we will need any exemptions.
Okay. Are you aware that any exemptions need to be requested 45 days in advance?
Yes.
Okay. The seeker process is complete. We have waived the reading of the resolution because we all have copies of the resolution in our packets. So I'm going to take a stab at this, Rachel, and if it's not correct, let me know. But I'm going to ask for a motion for inducement and final resolution approving a real property tax abatement, mortgage recording tax, and sales tax exemption with, how do I want to say that?
Provided that the
contingent on a 20% senior housing component.
Yeah.
Is that good? Okay. So that's the motion. I have someone that can make that motion.
Moved.
Moved by Jay. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Ann.
Thank you, Tony. Any additional comments, questions on that? Okay, I'll take a roll call vote. Jay?
No. And while I appreciate the senior component, I would be looking for an affordable component. The fact that you could rent to a wealthy 55 or 60-year-old to me is not sufficient enough to sway me to give benefits or incentives.
Okay. Tony?
Yes, because with the senior component and the fact that it's in a distressed area, my vote is a yes.
Okay. Rhett? Rhett?
Rhett is calling in right now.
He's coming in right now.
Give him 1 second. There we go.
I'm a no as well.
Is that Rhett?
Yes,
And you're a no.
yes, that's correct.
Okay. Troy?
I'm the same. I would have preferred to table this to see better the senior component and the market breakdown over here, as to Jay's point. We heard doctor, and I heard some other retirees. It was already something that was in the plan, it sounded like. So I'm a no.
Okay, Joe,
I'm a no.
Lisa,
I'm a no for the same reasons that have already been spoken.
and Ann is a no. So motion does not carry. So maybe Jordan, if you want to think about going back and revisiting, you know, a component that offers low-cost housing or even senior housing at a lower rate, since you are in a distressed area, that might be an opportunity for you to still move forward with the county incentives.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on to project modifications. And the first one is the Riverwood Tech Campus LLC. Anna?
Thank you, Anne. Riverwood Tech Campus LLC is redeveloping the former Kodak Marketing Education Center in the town of Henrietta. The project received board approval in October of 2015 for a custom property tax abatement, as well as sales and mortgage recording tax exemptions. The project was approved for an extension on the sales tax exemption in 2019 and 2020, as well as $21.9 million in an increase in project costs in November 2019. The applicant is seeking an extension of the sales tax exemption through June 30th, 2022, as the project is still under construction for new tenants.
Okay, so we're asking for an extension of the sales tax exemption through June 30, 2022. Is there a motion to that effect?
Moved.
Jay, did? Okay. Is there a second?
I'll
I'll
second.
second it.
Okay, I think Lisa beat you, Joe. Any additional comments, questions on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Next project modification is 30 West Broad Street LLC. And we do have a representative on the line with us, Joel Barrett. And Anna's going to read the modification summary for us. Anna?
Thank you. 30 West Broad Street served as Rochester's City Hall for over a century and is included on the National Historic Register. The building is 45% vacant. The building will be converted from the existing commercial office to a mixed-use structure with 30 market rate and affordable apartments, preserving and relocating existing tenants within the building. The conversion plan will also create an opportunity zone incubator for small businesses. This $10.6 million project anticipates creation of 7 FTEs in addition to the 100 FTEs currently in the building. The project was approved for sales and mortgage reporting tax exemptions in April of 2021 and is now seeking an increase in the mortgage reporting tax exemption. The original mortgage reporting tax exemption was $37,500, and the new mortgage reporting tax exemption is not to exceed $65,625.
Thank you, Anna. Joel, do you have any comments you'd like to make on this modification?
Very much for your time, everyone. I appreciate the original approval for the project. The majority of the increase is related to construction financing to do a little bit more work. Our client is actually going to invest more in the building. We are going to move forward with the roof replacement. The difference between the initial number versus this number also represents historic tax credits that
We're not able to hear you very well. And
I'm sorry.
Now we can't hear you. Oh, that's better.
Is that any better?
Yes.
So the difference in the original amount requested versus this amount relates to the replacement of the roof, which we are planning, versus trying to keep the original roof. It's a very expensive addition, but then it also represents that we're using the bank, utilizing a bank construction loan, which we will be required to pay mortgage tax on to bridge our financing gap prior to project completion, when historic tax credits will be provided when the project is finalized and placed into service. So that increase in dollar amount from the permanent funding that we initially had requested mortgage tax abatement on versus our amount that were needed to bridge and use for construction, in addition to additional construction for replacement of the roof, is why we have a difference and why I'm back before the board today.
Okay. Any questions from the board on this?
Joel, is this on your original financing? This isn't subsequent financing, is it?
No, it's in our original sources and uses. However, on the original application, I only placed our permanent financing as part of the request for mortgage abatement. At the time, I wasn't sure how we were going to bridge the tax credit gap, because the tax credits are provided at the completion of the project, but obviously the construction would have to be finalized prior. So that's the difference in the two numbers that was kind of a non-traditional funding source for me. But the bank that we are working with is going to increase the construction loan to act as a bridge loan for the historic tax credits to get in. And that's where we'll also be charged mortgage tax on the full amount of the construction loan, where I only requested the permanent loan to be exempt from mortgage tax. So it's a loan that we're using for less than 18 months. However, it's treated the same way as a 30-year mortgage or 20-year mortgage would be.
Okay, yeah, because my question was much more, I get if it's part of your original and part of the construction that you're doing and the upgrades to the building, and there's increased costs with the roof, as you mentioned, and
Yes.
changes, I'm fine. If it's an additional one where you're now going to permanent financing and trying to take money out and looking at it, then I'm usually not in favor of those.
Yeah.
So that's what my question is designed to get to, and you answered it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there other questions from the board? Okay, we're going to waive the reading of the resolution because we've all read it in our packets. The original exemption was $37,500. So I'll now ask for a motion to approve an increase of the mortgage recording tax exemption not to exceed $65,625. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Jay. Is there a
I'll
second?
second that.
Thank you, Joe. Any additional corrections, modifications? Hearing none. I'll call for a vote for the approval of the increased recording tax exemption savings. All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And good luck to you on that project. That's a wonderful sight to behold that we're
Very
saving.
excited about it.
Yeah.
So I
Good luck.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I'll just say congratulations to Joel and his family on a new addition born over the weekend, right, Joel?
Yes. I
Wow.
know. We had a new baby on Sunday, so I'm already back at the office, but I think my wife, and she needed some relaxation from me because I was the nervous one.
Joel,
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
congratulations. That's great.
Congrats, you look remarkably well rested.
There's my wife probably not so much, so I'm blessed.
Good luck.
All right, thank you
Thanks a
all.
lot, Joel.
Thanks, Joel.
Cheers. Bye now.
Okay, our next project modification is the Fabric Change Inc. For an increase, and our representative on that is Paul Tolley.
Yeah.
Tolley, do you have any comments you'd like to make? Well, let me have Anna actually read the modification and then I'll come back to you.
Thank you, Anne. Fab Exchange is a strategic private equity firm specializing in the acquisition of semiconductor and electronic manufacturing services businesses, and was originally approved by the board in March of 2021 for a sales tax exemption. The applicant is now requesting an increase in project costs of $725,000 due to an increase in due to additional renovations based on feedback from potential new owner operators. The total project costs is now $2,745,450, and the new sales tax exemption benefit amount is not to exceed $80,000.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Tully, any comments on this modification?
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me, everyone. No, this modification is really around. There's a slight change in the program. And initially, we were looking at a single vendor for the entire site, and now it looks like there's going to be multiple partners in the site. So, slight change in design to the clean rooms, as well as the increase in cost in starting and construction materials has pushed us to look to get a further exemption.
Thank you. Are there questions from the board on this modification?
Can you talk about the other companies or the other organizations that you'd be building these clean rooms out for?
In general, I can't name them right now, but there are three in particular. One is already in Rochester and has a test development site. We'll be looking at a manufacturing site within the semiconductor industry, really around glass photonics, with an association to silicon photonics. The second is a MEMS-based company, which MEMS is micro electromechanical systems, which is it's a semiconductor-based technology with mechanical switching as opposed to electrical switching. It's a very, very dynamic technology, and I would be very excited to see them come to Rochester because I do think they have a game changer technologies, particularly with the advent of electric vehicles. And the third is another partner company that is having a serious look at the building, and they are in the product identification space. So they build hardware that verifies passports. And this is going to sound funny, but it's quite a big industry. Things like Pokemon cards, which I've learned a lot about in the last couple of weeks, but that is like printing money, the value of some of these cards.
Great.
So
other questions from the board? All right, I think we'll move forward then, and we'll waive the reading of the resolution. We have the resolution in our packets, and I'll ask for a motion to approve an increase in the sales tax exemption not to exceed $80,000. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Lisa. And was that Joe? Rhett. Oh, Rhett. Thank you. All right. Any additional comments, questions on that? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
thank you, everyone.
Best to you, Mr. Tully.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Next modification is 275 Wiregrass Parkway LLC, and we believe have Bruce Stratton on the line with us.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Anna, would you like to read the modification summary for us?
Thank you, everyone.
Best to you, Mr. Tully.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, Anne.
Modification is
Someone needs to mute. I think it might be Bruce needs to mute or turn off the live stream. We've got a little bit of feedback.
There we go.
Premier Packaging Corporation is the tenant to 275 Wiregrass Parkway LLC, a real estate holding company that is constructing a new 101,000 square foot facility on 10 acres in the town of Henrietta. Premier Packaging Corporation is a key supplier of paperboard packaging to some of the country's largest digital photo finishing, food packaging, and medical device companies. The project was approved by the board in April 2021 for a property tax abatement, sales tax, and mortgage reporting tax exemptions. At that time, Premier Packaging was not ready to apply for benefits. Premier Packaging is now requesting a sales tax exemption on purchases of $250,000 for furniture, fixtures, and equipment for an exemption of $20,000. The cost benefit ratio remains the same at 20-1.
Thank you. Mr. Stratton, do you have any comments you'd like to make on this modification?
Yeah, so on our first application, we weren't really sure on what the improvements we would be looking at. We're early into the phase. So we chose to come in later once we knew a little bit more information. As we're starting to look at this build out, we've estimated our numbers here at about $180,000 for furniture and fixture upgrades to this facility, as well as our IT needs between equipment and labor, estimating that at $50,000, and a security system. So these are the things we've identified that we'd like to submit for tax credit.
Okay, any questions for Bruce? All right, we'll move forward. We'll waive the reading of the resolution. We have it in our packets. There was no public hearing required on this. So now I'll ask for a motion to approve an increase in project costs of $250,000 attributable to furniture, fixtures, and equipment to be purchased by the tenant, Premier Packaging Corporation. We have a motion, please.
I'll motion in.
Thank you, Joe. Is there a second?
Troy will second.
Troy is a second. All right. Any other modifications to the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Continued.
Very much.
Good luck to you on the project.
Thank you.
Okay, our next and final modification is 822 HR LLC, which is an assignment assumption. And I believe we have Ryan Dooling on the line with us.
Aye.
Ryan Dooling is on with us.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Okay, great. I just want to make sure you were there. Anna is going to review the modification with us, and then we'll come back to you with questions. Anna?
Thank you, Anne. 822 HR LLC is assigning its beneficial interest to LC Parent LLC on behalf of an entity to be formed. Located in the town of Webster, the project consists of 114 market rate senior apartments. The applicant is requesting approval of the sale of the facility and to assume the real property tax abatement.
Okay, anything you would like to add to that, Ryan?
Well, thank you, first of all, for taking the time and considering the request. Just by way of background, I'm a private real estate investor. We own a number of projects throughout the Midwest, and we're looking to purchase this project. And by our standards, it's been very successful. And so our approach to the project is to basically do no harm, maintain the same reporting for the remainder of the agreement, maintain the same FTE count that's required per some of the documentation, so on and so forth. So really our only request is to just finish out the agreement.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the board on this? Okay, hearing none, we will waive the reading of the resolution because we have it in our packets, and there was no public hearing required. So I'll ask for a motion to approve the sale of the facility and assignment of the real property tax abatement. Is there a motion, please?
Motion.
I'll make a motion.
Moved by Troy, seconded by Tony. Any other questions, modifications? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right,
Thank you.
continued success to you on this. Sounds good.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, Anna, you are up again. This time we're going to talk about the brew house, not brew house, brew. See what I'm thinking?
We'd love to talk about brew houses. when it's okay.
You never knew that about Anne. That's right. The Brew Road purchase offer.
Thank you, Anne.
Okay.
So as this board is aware, Comida has owned a 52-acre piece of property in the town of Riga on Brew Road for some years now. The property was a bit larger years ago, and parts of it were sold off to Scott's Miracle Grow, which is operating a commercial facility on the site. Earlier this year, I worked with this board to get approval to work with a brokerage firm to see if we could sell the property, given that any inquiries to purchase the land were going through to Monroe County's real property office, and it really wasn't the most efficient way to market and sell the property. So we went ahead and contracted with Pyramid Brokerage after an RFP process, again with board approval. And the broker brought to us recently an interested buyer, Solar Energy Partners LLC out of Buffalo, a firm that's interested in purchasing all 52 acres at full asking price, close to $1 million, $996,000. So a good offer at full asking. The developer is seeking a period for the board to give me the ability to enter into a contract with the buyer, and they're interested in a due diligence period not to exceed 9 months for them to look at the site and assess its efficacy for the installation of a solar farm development. The town of Riga is aware, and I'm putting this out for conversation and deliberation on the part of the board, and seeking your permission to go ahead and enter into a contract with this interested buyer.
So it's 6 months and then a 3-month extension on that?
Yes, a potential 3-month extension.
Potential.
In the event that they might require the extension.
Okay.
Anna, what would happen if somebody comes along with a cash offer?
Good question.
Broker said he would just keep track, and if this falls through, we'll go to those offers.
I don't know if you overheard Rachel, but she said that the broker would keep track of those offers, and we could.
If this were to fall through, we would have those as backup offer. The listing will
So
stay
in other words, Rachel, it couldn't be bumped.
correct. We would be in this contract allowing them to do their diligence, and if for whatever reason it falls through, we would keep those backup offers.
Okay.
Anna, it just seems to me like 9 months is a long time to tie a property up.
It is a long time, that's to be sure. My counter would be that we've had the property now on our books since 2012, early 2000s.
Right.
So it's been a long time, but you're absolutely right. And
it just seems to me like 9 months is a long time to tie it up. So look, I'm in favor of taking the offer, but I would counter them or redraft it so that if somebody else comes along and wants it, you give them a right of first refusal that, look, you either got to move now or we're going to move in another direction. I just can't see, again, you tie the property up for 9 months, and in the end of 9 months, you could end up with nothing, and a viable buyer could have came along and then we lost it. So,
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Joe.
I think the right thing to do is tell them, look, we'll go down the road. If you need 9 months, we'll give you the 9 months. But if somebody else comes along and they want to buy it and that offer is a good offer, we'll give you an opportunity to match it. That we'll put them in first place to get it. But just to take it off the market for 9 months and not be able to do anything else, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
We can go back through the broker to the buyer with that negotiation. Perhaps, is it possible, Rachel, for the board to vote to give me the ability to go enter into contract with that provision?
Mhm. So what we're asking the board to do is approve, grant Anna the authority to negotiate and execute the purchase offer that we have. And one of the items that we can counter with is the ability to go back to them and say, we have another offer. Can you wrap up your diligence period? And if you can't, we'd like to entertain this other offer. So we can include that in our counter offer. I can include that in my attorney approval letter. There are some other adjustments to the purchase contract that I would like to make as well. Shifting the burden of expense onto the buyer rather than to this agency. So we can certainly include that.
Joe, Tony, the one thing that, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but it's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Anna, is they're, obviously they're looking at it for a solar field and they want to get their permitting and engineering approvals, and that can be a lengthy process. I would hate to, if I'm sitting in their shoes, I don't know that I want to go 3-4 months, spend a lot of money, and have the possibility that this would get taken out from under us. So I would propose somewhere in the middle, like, hey, we can give it for 6 months, but at that time, after the 6-month point, then it might be able to be opened up, or if we get another offer, we can take it at the 6-month point. After 6 months, they should have a really good sense as to whether they're going to be able to pull the trigger on the solar field. So I'll throw that out there as another alternative to address Joe, yours and Tony's concern.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Jay. I think if somebody comes along, let's say in 30 days from now or 60 days from now, somebody comes along and says, okay, we want it, and they're going to have a due diligence period. And let's say their due diligence period is only, 2 months or 3 months. At that point, you go to the contract should read, because I've sold property like this before. The contract reads that they have an opportunity to match it, or we have a chance to walk away from the deal and go down the road with somebody else. It just seems to me, again, 9 months is a long time. And
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you, Joe. The part that I'm worried about, and maybe Anna can just go and take their temperature on this, is if I'm in their shoes and I can't get a 6-month exclusivity period, I'm not going to spend the $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 in engineering costs that I need to get the approval. I'm going to go look for another parcel. And given how, it's not like we've got a lot of people banging the door down for this. So
right.
This is the bird in hand versus the bird in the bush. And I understand we like the idea of the bird in the bush, but I guess I'm more focused on someone who wants to pay full price and kind of not making it more difficult for them, or giving them the opportunity, or the option to go look somewhere else. Because like I said, I would hate, if I was in their shoes, to get $75,000, $80,000 in and then not be able to close on this property, because these things do take a while. So
well, Anna, can you have the conversation with them, Anna, and see if there's any room with the due diligence period, and see if there's something that works a little bit for us. It gives us a little bit of flexibility and allows them. I'm sure there's got to be a time frame before 9 months where they know yeah, we're in good shape or we're not.
Yes, I can certainly have a conversation with them about the 9-month period. And again, it's 6 months with the option to extend it for another 3.
Right.
So perhaps there is room there for some negotiation. To Jay's point, though, yes, this is not the most attractive site. It's contiguous, but it's oddly shaped, and it's
Right.
also adjacent to a landfill area. So that's why, Scott's Miracle Grow Fertilizer Company was really the only prospective commercial industrial development years ago. And again, we've only had meager, a trickle of inquiries about the property. Nothing serious until this one.
So how do we want to proceed? Do you need to come back to us, Anna, with how the outcome of that conversation? And then do we do a quick call with the board to give you then the direction to
Rachel's gonna
finalize?
So the way that the resolution and the motion will read is that Anna is granted the authority to negotiate the sale, keeping in mind the board's feedback, which is really that the due diligence period should be no longer than 6 months, and that we would ultimately like a result at that point. But Anna, I can certainly keep the board informed, but there would not be a need for additional approval.
I'm comfortable with that. And I'm comfortable even with the 6-month and 3-month option if they start to balk, in Anna's opinion that she wants to move forward with that because, they need the 6 and the 3 months. Like I said, to me, I'm happy we got one on the line. So I would love to get out of the landlord business.
Real estate business. Right?
Yeah, right.
Enough is enough. Joe, were you going to say something else?
I'm comfortable with the way Rachel just said to handle that. That works.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So I will then ask for a motion to grant the executive director the authority to negotiate and execute a site access agreement, a purchase and sale agreement, and approve the conveyance of fee title to the property to the company. Is there a motion on that?
Motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it, Ann.
Okay, thank you. Moved by Troy, seconded by Joe. He's joyful, but any additions or corrections to the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Approved? A nay vote? All those in favor were aye, and there are no nays, so motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay, Chair Burr has no further discussion items, and our next meeting is July 2021, and I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There being no further business. Okay, been moved by Jay. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Lisa. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. Thank you all very much.
Great
Very
day.
constructive meeting. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.